welcome to Full Moon in Pisces 2021, occurring September 20th at 7:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you see the chart there in front of you, and I just thank you for joining me today and appreciate the next few moments that you're going to be spending with me, where we unpack this full moon on a more of a soul astrology perspective and a psychological perspective. As you see in front of you there, for me, as I study the human psyche with the main planets, and I'm just now getting into the asteroids deeper. I've been with Chiron a while, but you're going to see in front of you there, we have the sun, of course, and the moon, and then we'll have Venus, Mercury, and Mars. And then I added Chiron for this reading this month because I think Chiron plays very big into endings and the wounded healer, and we'll talk about that. And I also added Neptune to this because I think it's really important to see what's going on with Neptune in Pisces in the 12th house, in its home sign, home house, whole 9 yards next to the moon. I think very significant about this full moon. That's giving us an opportunity to completely release things that have really been challenging for us in the relational area within ourselves, our own psyche, and then, of course, in relatedness with others. Have a heavy influence in that 7th house, which is Virgo's house, which is the house of relatedness. When we finally come from the bottom part of the chart, make our way to the top and start relating with people. So again, thank you. My name's Kathleen Thomas, and I welcome you to this broadcast today. I want to also share with you that free will is always at play. I'm a firm believer in free will, and the stars impel, but they do not compel. And that was Miss Isabel M. Hickey, who wrote that out of Astrology, a Cosmic Science, the classic work on spiritual astrology. Love that book. Highly recommend it. It's been around for quite a while, but excellent book. But I just want to share with you truly a deep understanding of the placements with aspects, along with effort, free will, momentum, personal drive, must be applied to one's life for greatest success. I believe that we are masterpieces, that we are not duplicated, that there isn't another single person alive that's had the blueprint and the energetic footprint that we have. You are a Mona Lisa. I am a Mona Lisa. And the chart placements and aspects, each second that goes by will not be duplicated for another 25,000 years. We are having some very big events taking place in our outer planets that are utterly deconstructing and will be reconstructing a more amiable future of peace, love, and harmony for all. But we're not there yet. And these moons that come in, the new moons and the full moons, the new moons and the full moons, and there's a lot of moons in between. I'm not diminishing those. I'm concentrating on the more popular ones because that's where the masses are, and the moon means masses. So I just want to share that at the beginning so that we have a really good grasp and a really good understanding that just because you have a placement or just because you see a placement, just because there's a placement in the sky doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn out the way that it's displaying. It has a lot to do with your own personal energy and momentum, your free will, your individuation, your individualness, your soul level person, who you are, and how you came into this world to be. So the other last thing I want to say is be careful to never isolate a single placement and or an aspect, as a person is a combination of the entire natal chart. Meaning, we can get fanatical astrology where we just look at one thing and we zero in on that and we don't take it into consideration of the entire chart. So very important to consider the entire chart and, of course, your personal transits against, for, with this full moon. What are those looking like for you? So with that, we know what a full moon is. If you watched the last video, you saw me dive into that pretty deep. That was the opening pilot video for the new moon and the full moon series. So I'm not going to delve into that again. You can go back to that first video and just watch the intro, and I really go into what a full moon means. But we know that it's about releasing, and it's releasing the pattern that was put forth by the prior energies that will put in place, which was that new moon that we had. So what we've got here is, with this full moon occurring, it's already endings and releasing and letting go, moving on. It's in the house of endings, and it's in the house of moving on. So we'll take a closer look at that. We're going to look at the qualities and the elements. I think that that's really important. The energetic signature print that's coming in. We're also going to look at those inner planets more closely than the outer, because again, my forte or my background, what my heart's passionate about, is that inner person and the inner transformation. And what can you do to change your world? What can you do about it? Which is where we see the inner planets that are quicker moving so that we can adjust them, versus the outer planets that are very, very far away and take longer to transit and stay for very long periods of time. Those are the lessons in the growth and how we come out into collective reality from the self. I will share on the outer planets just a little bit, but not in real big detail, but I am going to bring those in because I think it's important to see what's going on in the bigger collective picture with those larger planets. So, and then I just wanted to talk really quickly going into this. It's interesting to look at the polarities of this chart here. And we have 7 planets that sit in the masculine signs. That'd be Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sag, and Aquarius. And we have 6 planets sitting in the feminine signs, which are Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Cap, and Pisces. I found that very fascinating because we have an equal balance of male and female. Now, not in the chart you're seeing in front of you. If I were to put all the other planets in, then you're going to get a bigger picture. But for right now, I'm just looking at the inner planets. But taking into consideration the whole chart like we talked about, we've got 7 masculine and 6 feminine. So it's almost like the chart is saying, look, we need to really have a balance here between the feminine and the masculine energies. And that's what some of the outer energies that are influencing us are about. And that drives me to the asteroids and the goddesses that are huge in the reemergence of the feminine and needing to rebalance the archetype of the feminine in society. But that's another conversation. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that degree that the moon is sitting in here. This is very, very important. We've got it in the sign of Pisces in the 12th house, like I said, and it's sitting at 28 degrees, getting ready to move into 29 degrees, which is a critical degree. It's known as a special meaning, and it's given power and significance. And when we get into 29 degrees, what we have is the moving out into a new sign, right? Because the chart's 30. So think of it this way. I think of it as you're the butterfly in the cocoon, and it's the part where you're completely congealed into mush. Like you're very mutable. You're just mush, and you could take a shape and a form depending on what you're supposed to be and the structure and everything behind that, where you're going. And where are we going with Pisces? We're going into Aries. So we're moving out of Pisces. Not only are we moving out of Pisces energy, we're moving out of the era of Piscean energy, which we know what that's been like. I'm not going to go into that. So much has been said. But we're moving into this age of Aquarius, and the moon is speaking to us very clearly at the beginning of a new season shortly coming that, look, this isn't going to work. We need to release. We need to let go of this Piscean way of being. In the 12th house, a lot of secret, hidden things there at 29 degrees almost. So we've got extremes happening here and great charge within and an opportunity for a very different, unique manifestation. Thus, you've got a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's the whole metamorphosis going on here. So, moving out of a cycle, and the 12th house, like I said, represents endings. And the moon there is about releasing emotions and ending another cycle within the moon itself. So we've got, wow, do you see where this is going? 12th house, Pisces owns the 12th house. Neptune belongs to the 12th house, belongs to Pisces, therefore. And the moon is there. So it's a 7-degree signature apart from that Neptune, but that Neptune plays very, very deeply into this reading. So what I want to do is just talk a bit about the qualities and the elements before we break down the entire rest of the chart. Qualities and the elements work like this. The signs of the zodiac, they're grouped into 2 basic categories, and they're known as the qualities and the elements. And the qualities describe fundamental modes of activity. So this is how we move in that energy. And the elements describe temperament. So there's 3 qualities: cardinal, fixed, mutable, and 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. And the chart's going to have a varying degree with each quality and each element. And the percentages determine the importance in our lives that these energies have. And the higher percentages, of course, will be more powerful, right? And the lower percentages, less, meaning either it's something you need to strengthen because it's less powerful, or it's something that's less powerful because you're done with it and it needs to go away, and just let it go and concentrate on the newer, more powerful cardinal energy. So in the breakdown of the chart that you see in front of you there, that this chart is 50% cardinal. Wow. Half of the chart is asking you in this full moon to be cardinal. And what are the cardinal signs? They represent the 4 angles of the chart, okay? So we have Aries in the 1st, Cancer in the 4th, Libra in the 7th, and Capricorn in the 10th. These are the signs that want to initiate. They're very dynamic. They're action-orientated. They're interested in promoting change, and they want to bring new things into the world. Very direct and very assertive, and like to take charge of situations. There's a lot of ambition here. There's a lot of independence. They don't like being supervised. So this is a real look. I need you to think entrepreneur here with half of this chart. Like, be responsible with this energy. Move it out on your own. The next quality that we have here is mutable at 28%, almost 30. So we got 50 and almost 30, right? Of cardinal and then mutable. And the mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So wherever you see those signs in this chart is where you must consider being more flexible. That's what the chart would say. Okay, so mutable people are more flexible of the 3 types. They're going to be the ones that are going to go with the flow. Okay, they're like, okay, I can change and be adaptable to that. I'm not so strong and stringent like those fixed signs or cardinal signs where, it's got to kind of be a certain way. I can move, I can flow. And this also, though, can lead to restlessness and indecisiveness that we find in the mutable signs. And also, there can be a sensitivity to the opinion of others here. And these people who are mutable can also be impressionable and easily influenced, okay, by environmental circumstances. So this is a moon that's asking you in a mutable way at 38%, right? Is that where we were at? 28%. Over a quarter of the chart is saying, look, where can you be more flexible? And where can you just see that your environment is hitting you and causing these circumstances that are surrounding you? That perhaps you might need to be more flexible in your environment and, get yourself out of being impressed by them and influenced by them. The mutable element here really lacks the stubbornness of the fixed signs and the forcefulness of the cardinal signs. So this is going to make them really good mediators and go-in-betweeners. So it's like, this chart's like, look, I'm trying to reach across the aisle. I'm trying to mediate with you. I'm trying to make this work out. But when you have a 12th house moon with 50% cardinal energy, and it's a water house in a water sign in the watery moon, you can see the challenge here, right? All right, let's move on to the elements. Elements are stacked, remember, air, water, fire, and earth. So I did that in the order of the percentages. So you've got air at 39%. So the air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the more planets you have in the air signs, the more proactive and self-determining you are. So almost 40% with this active energy, the self-determining energy, wanting to move out in air, which is communication. We've got Mercury represented in Gemini, Venus represented in Libra, and Uranus represented in Aquarius. So think of this: 3rd house, 7th house, 11th house. The air signs, they're going to go for the freedom and the action. Okay, they need to move out. So we've got a cardinal chart at 50% and almost 40% air. This is asking you to speak your truths. Open your throat chakra and allow this interrelatedness to occur in the inner planets we see. The moon is all the way on the other side in the emotions, away from all those inner planets that are trying to help the personality. And the moon's like, nope, I'm all the way on the other side of this chart. In the 12th house, I am hunkered down, getting ready to go into Aries. I'm not coming over there. You know, I think there's going to need to be more mutability kind of going over to that water, because where do you see the heavy cardinal and where do you see some of the fixed areas of the chart that aren't as mutable and working? Look at the signs some of these planets are in. Not all, but the planet even in the sign. You've got Mars and Libra. That's no fun. You know, it can be, but it's a challenge. So okay, so we got air at 40%. We've got earth and water. I did say that, sorry. Earth and water are equal at 22%. So earth is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And the more planets you have in earth signs, the more practical and needful of security you are. We have Venus representing Taurus, Mercury again. So Venus and Mercury doubled in air and earth energy. So those two signs I'm going to call out, very important to look at. Those 4 signs, pardon me. Gemini, Libra, Taurus, Virgo in your chart, in your transits. Check those out. Capricorn is going to be, of course, Saturn. Ooh, that's a tough gig. Saturn's tough. Wherever Saturn is, just going to tell you I'm having my Saturn transit, and this recording is going to be not as long and not as detailed and quicker, because I never know when things are going to go haywire with my technology. I'm not kidding you. I'm having my Saturn return coming March of 22 at 58 years and a half. And yeah, it's been real, y'all. Not only that, Pluto is transiting my 3rd house where my Saturn sits, and that is also today where Saturn was. So it's a rough gig. Oh my, but I'll get through it. So yeah, we're moving a little quick. All right, let's dive into the 12th house. So the 12th house, there are a lot of things that you can say, and depending on who you speak to, right? And if you use Vedic astrology versus Western astrology, and I take a look at both because I think that it's a well-rounded view of astrology, and we need both systems. So it's the house of dreams here. Think of the 12th house as the space outside of our planet. This is away from other people. This is away from public. This is considered the realm of God. It's the most spiritual house in the chart. 1 through 11 are the external houses, you know, where we're seen and where we evolve and where we grow. The 12th house is where we figure it all out, getting ready to go into that 1st house to start a whole new cycle and a whole new sign. It could be the house of ill luck, asylums, hospitals, hideaways, prisons, retreats, mental asylums, I think I said asylums, house of isolation, and anything isolated. Your thoughts, your home, your heart. Foreign places, meaning foreign lands. Okay, so things far, far away that aren't understood and really aren't seen clearly. It's an isolation from your natural environment when you're in the 12th house. Your place of being physically in the world, in its mutable water. Now, when you've got it in Pisces, it's home. It's happy there. The 12th house. Didn't talk about the moon yet, the 12th house. And here you see the empathy that Pisceans can have for people who are down on their luck and out. Pisceans are some of the most generous people. And they're really inclined to help those in need. Very psychic sign, very spiritual sign. But Pisceans, remember, Neptune is their planet. And Neptune's in the 12th house. Whoa. Okay. So you've got a lot of Pisces energy here. Tons of it. And this can really require you occasional solitude in order to rebalance and center yourself. So this moon is asking you kind of get away. It's not a real, you can engage with others, but it's really a more reflective moon, I think, my call. Don't have to agree with that, but I think that's true. I think that it's more of a moon that's like asking you, hey, I really need you to go within yourself and then connect to above and figure some things out regarding relationships, because everybody's on the other side of the chart away from you, not wanting to communicate, not wanting to talk, so to speak. And there's opposites there that are very, very important to look at. So secretive behavior can occur here in the 12th house, and it can lead to your self-undoing. And it can be an immoderate use, habitual, addictive use of intoxicants, drugs, and it can cause you personal harm. You must be careful with the 12th house. So when we've got the soft little moon in the 12th house, what do we have here? We have water, Cancer, runs the 4th home of family, mother, madre, the most intimate parts of our upbringing, our house, our home. What was it like? And we've got it over there in the 12th being hidden. So this can be somebody that's facing some reoccurring anxieties here with their emotions in their mind and fears that seem to come out of nowhere. So if some of you have been experiencing this, remember the moon comes in. Boy, last night was incredible looking out the window. It was so bright. But the moon comes in and you can feel it coming in. It's not just the night of it. The night is when it accumulates. September 20th at 7:53 Eastern Standard Time is when it'll peak. And it'll just start releasing. And it'll start getting smaller because it'll start changing in the sky and the sun will not reflect it the same way. Remember, the moon has no light of its own. It's only reflected by the sun. So this is going to be a very shy and private person with the moon here. This is somebody who really needs time out. You already need it with being Pisces in the 12th. You put the moon there, you're really going to need seclusion here. So some of you are like, why do I just want to be alone? Why are people irritating me? Like there's this anxiety going on. I'm telling you, that is this moon. And you got to honor that. If you're a parent and you have small children, ask for timeouts and breaks if you can. Don't do this alone. This is a tough moon. There's a lot of positive things. My goodness, I'm just saying this is what this moon means when it's in the 12th house. And you can have misdirected emotions. You can have indiscretions. And it can go against you. because it's hidden. The moon's hidden. The moon's the masses, and you're sticking it in the 12th house of hidden and faraway things. So these indiscretions going on, it can work against you. It's enmity against women as well, because the moon represents women, the feminine archetype. Deeply, deeply, deeply feeling, triple, quadruple feeling with the moon in Pisces. You've got water in water. Too much water, too much sensitivity here on with Neptune there. Oh my goodness. Just you guys, to me, this is too much water. You really need the strength of that Mars and Sun on the other side of the chart, the 6th. It's calling you over there for a reason. And rely on it. It's there to help you. It's there to help you. Highly, highly psychic and instinctive night, the full moon here, and the energies up to it. Easily picking up on the moods around you. You can just like immediately feel them. So again, careful with your ceremonies. I just think that's important. I tell you what you can do here as well, as you look at it in this degree, you can, because it's so full, you can be taken advantage of by others emotionally. So we've got emotional manipulation here, and you can feel pushed and pulled by conflicting moods, and within yourself and from other people. So really important to have yourself centered in this full moon. This is also a gift for creative or healing work. If your moon, you were born with that moon in the 12th house, you probably are drawn deeply to the healing arts. Neptune in Pisces is sitting there at 21 degrees. And this is a long transiting, let me find my paperwork here. Long transiting movement of Neptune. Neptune at 21 degrees is making its way through, and it's going to exit. Spends 14 years in each sign, and it's going to exit in 2025. It's been in there since 2012. So it's got another 3.5 years to go here before it comes out, and it's going to move into Aries. And wow, are we going to see some stuff happen? I just want to share with you that this orbit is very long, so this is a generational position. Just that's a very important word to remember. Generational position. So look at this in your chart, how it's impacting you, but this is a long, long transit. This is somebody who has a very strong interest at this time with the moon here in metaphysical things and mysticism. Pisces, the sign itself, represents mysticism, as does the 12th house, the secluded monk, the person in hiding, the hermit card. You're going to question a lot of spiritual experiences at this time of this full moon cycle. Orthodox religions and opinions, you're really going to question this way that things used to be in regards to your new experiences. Careful here. Neptune sitting there, you can have escapism and religious ecstasy. This is where you get the people, man, if Rahu's there, you're really going to see it if it's not balanced. This is where you get the people who run around getting bit by snakes and then say, I'm not going to die, because I'm covered by God. I mean, hey, that stuff probably happens and can, but come on, man. We live in a heavy 3D earth environment as a spirit incarnated into a body. So we have to honor the rules and the laws here. And Neptune can take you way far out, okay? And it can take you so far out that you're into these extreme lands. And you don't want to be there because fanaticism happens there. And experimentation in a non-healthy way. Non-healthy, that's the key word. With heavy intoxicants and drugs. So remember, we've got another 9 degrees there, 2.5 years before Pisces is due to leave. So with Neptune and Pisces, these lessons, this is what we're learning, okay, to balance our spiritual energies against orthodoxy and what's been out there. want to move over to that 6th house really quick where the sun is. Now, whenever we have a full moon, we always have the sun opposite on the chart. I find it interesting. You know, the new moon, we had the sun in Virgo as well in the 5th house. If you recall, go back and watch that. And now, of course, Virgo's moving. We're going into Libra season. We've got Virgo at 28 degrees in the 6th house. He is home. So this is really positive. You've got the moon across from Virgo who's home, and the sun and the ego there. This is all about your day-to-day activity. This is all about you managing your mind. This is all about the center and the balance and the harmony and the flow and keeping your shit together. With them being opposite, that's where you get this tension. You've heard of moon madness. This is where this comes from. It's meant to close things out that no longer work for you. It's the end of a cycle, and we're about releasing. And Virgo is about hanging on to the day-to-day responsibilities. You know, Virgo is the keen worker. He's willing to be of service. He's earth energy, but guess what? He's mutable. Here's your positive. That mutable Virgo is willing to work with that mutable Pisces. And I think that he would say, look, with Mars sitting there helping me in Virgo of partnerships, we're going to get this together and we're going to get this worked out. And we're going to be able to have some conversations that are of what? A very practical, earthy nature and a Libran way of, you know, Venus is her planet. She's about relatedness. She lives in the 7th house with Mars and, you know, and her, she's like trying to say, I really need you to consider this relatedness and how it's affecting your health, because that's what the 6th house is. Very important to remember. The 6th house is about not only your day-to-day work matters and your day-to-day specific skills in all of this with the sun there, but the 6th house is really maintaining a healthy diet and lifestyle. This is very important with the sun there and Mars. Some of you may be experiencing some health issues that have been very Neptunian. You didn't know what the heck was going on. You thought maybe you were going crazy. And I can tell you, you're not. If you're having extreme mental anxiety, I just want you to breathe, ground yourself, get in nature, and really these 3 words, let it go. Doesn't mean you don't deal with things, and it doesn't mean that you don't manage your life and be responsible. What it means is you don't allow that moon energy to rule over your mind and the ego. And Virgo in that practical nature, at what degrees? Same degrees, right? 28 degrees. We always have the same degrees. It's saying, look, I'm just as strong, and I'm getting ready to move into a critical degree of Libra. And I need you, Virgo would say, as the perfectionist he is. All you Virgos are like, yes, I need you to work intellectually here. I need you to be analytical. And I need you to have a practical approach to your inner world. And just to make sure, I put Mars there, who's going to help us. And I got to tell you, with the sun there, Virgos can be critical, though. And they like to offer constructive feedback, constructive criticism, but sometimes they can be overcritical. So don't be too hard on yourself. It's another message here. Don't be too hard on yourself. Sun conjunct Mars and Sun opposite Moon. All right, Sun conjunct Mars there. You've got fire on fire. You've got Leo and Aries. You've got a lot of willpower, but you've got Mars as an action-orientated sign, a moving out sign, and you've got Leo as a fixed sign. And you've got Virgo as a mutable sign. So you've got these energies stirring. If any of those energies resonated with you, that's what you got going on. Well, possibly, maybe not in the 6th house, somewhere else. I don't know where it is for you, but these energies are stirring us to look at these things. And the outer energies move in a certain way, and these moons are super important because they open up portals, and they open up consciousness, and they open up super consciousness, and they allow us to manage things in a very powerful way if we will but yield to the power of the moon. Extremely powerful, and harness her. She is there. So the Sun conjunct Mars is going to give you a lot of personal effort and determination. And it's also could make you aggressive. So be careful with that. But the Sun is there supporting you with Mars, helping you to move out into that practical energy and partner with Venus and in that Libra energy. And we're going to move into that next. Let's talk about Sun opposite Neptune one more minute because there's something I wanted to add there. Okay, so Sun opposite Neptune. When you've got the Sun on the opposite side of the chart, it is a conflict. It is a tension experience. It's not like always easy. It's a pulling, so to speak. You got the opposite poles on the other side of the chart because Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. So, highly sensitive and impressionable here. You can be, like I said, this is a time that there's an easy sway in being prone to seducing influences because Neptune doesn't have any boundaries. Seducing influences, lack of motivation, lack of power. You have, best intentions and ideals, but you can't get off the couch and stop watching Netflix. You've got these cycles of really low physical vitality and weakness. That can be Neptune and the moon together like that. So ride the storm. Not like riders on the storm, the doors, but ride the storm and just let it be, man. Just let yourself go through this energy and let yourself walk through this energy and just really make it, I would say, for the next week. And I mean this for anyone. That's just my opinion with the way that this moon is and these ending energies. Try to have an easy week. Try to just have a week where, if you got to go to work and do what you do, but try not to be on a lot of electronics. It's only going to confuse you more. Try to get your energy grounded and in nature. Positively, you're going to have deep spiritual inclinations when it's opposite like this. I'm talking strong inner psychic experiences. And your compassion with the rest of the world and seeing what's going on. It's just going to open and blossom for you because the ego's on the other side of the moon, and the moon is like, look, I need you to see this. Because remember, it works both ways. The moon is helping the other side too. It's putting some pressure on it and some anxieties, yes, but it's also saying, look, I need you to see this. I need you to see that we need to be more unified and more loving and more kind and more open with one another. And we need to be more spiritually sensitive and psychic in our own abilities. This is also going to just bust open any creativity. So great night to do your own ceremony and then do some creative project. The energies are ripe, like literally ripe fruit ready to be picked. And especially in anything to do with music, painting, photography, or drama. Highly able to be created at this time. The Mars in the Libra there is going to give you an urge to really go out and associate with others, okay? So Virgo's like, look, get your health together, get your shit together, get your heart together, get your mind together, get your stuff together, girl. Go to your resources. You're not alone. You don't walk alone. There's power. Call on it. It's there for you. And then take that energy and come on, let's get it going now. Let's get out to that 7th house of interrelatedness. And look, Venus is there in her house, but she's in Scorpio. So, we got to talk about that. But Mars is asking us to just be like, look, let's have peace instead of discord. I don't want any arguments with you. I want to be amiable. I want to restore harmony. That is Libra's heart. And Libra is scales and balance. Black and white, yin and yang, in and out, up and down, right? Around and through. So she is able to see both sides of the story. And she's a good negotiator. We've already had that term come out already. So you're very uncomfortable with conflict here and wanting to be like, look, you ever hear that term, why you gotta be so loud, from that Taylor Swift song? That's kind of what's going on here. That was last month too. same kind of theme. Mars is showing up. So because you're so uncomfortable with conflict here, Libra may not take action, and that's not cool. Libra, got to move out, got to have those conversations, got to move towards relatedness. Okay? All right, so what I want to talk about next is that 7th house. And so, yay, we've got Libra in Libra. This is good news. And so she's home there. Mercury is sitting there in Libra. So not only that, we've got Venus sitting there. So you're going to seek an equality and a fairness in your relationships in a very intellectual way with Mercury. You're going to want to be intelligent about this. This is air energy also coming out like a Gemini kind of tone with Mercury there, because it also rules Virgo. And it, it's like, look, I need some kind of intellectual understanding of this situation. Like, let's talk about this in a normal, Virgoic, librarian way. And let's get it all out on the table with Mercury. Here it is. Tell me what's on your mind. That's what's going on there. Tell me what's on your mind. So this is encouraging you to talk. Now with Venus in Scorpio, let's talk about that. So Venus is ruled by Taurus and Libra, okay? So you've got Earth manifested in the 2nd and air manifested in the 7th. And Scorpio is a fixed water planet represented by Mars and Pluto. Okay. Scorpio's themes are death, dying, the hidden things, the underworld, in a fixed way, magnetism, wanting to understand things at a very deep level, water, psychic energy, the detective. When you put Venus and Scorpio together in Libra, remember, Libra's ruling the roost with her house. She's telling you how it ought to be. This is how this house behaves, right? It's like the mother saying, look, this is how we behave here. And Venus shows up in Scorpio wanting to do some of her stuff that Scorpio can do when it's not balanced, okay? And when it's in its shadow position. But look, we've got it sitting next to Mercury, talking things out with her, which I think brings some balance to the water in Scorpio, my opinion. And it brings out these strong powers of attraction, wanting the mind and Venus wanting to work back and forth and being like, yeah, let's work this out in a very all or nothing kind of attitude. But it's when it comes to love and relationships, because we're in the 7th house. So again, it's this interrelatedness of, look, it's this way or it's that way, okay? And you can have emotional manipulation, and we've seen that again in the chart. You can have secretiveness. We're seeing that again in the chart. We had it in the 12th. You can have jealousy with a Venus in Scorpio, extreme jealousies. So be careful of that. It's just saying, look, things can get a little gnarly here. I want you to understand you got to keep this under control. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close because I really want to get this chart out to you before the full moon and have you have a chance to look at it. And also, who knows when technology is going to go out on me, like I said. So this is a shorter chart, and I just hope that brought some insights into you, and perhaps it helped you see things on a deeper interpersonal, soul, and psychological level. But yeah, you've got cardinal working for you here. It's asking you to move out in 39% air. It's asking you to speak. So be careful how you do that with Mars and Venus sitting there. and do it in a balanced and a harmonic way. Libra's the helper there, asking us to think through with our minds in a very rational way. And Virgo, of course. All right, well, namaste. I hope that you have a great full moon. And until next time, we'll see you. Thank you. Appreciate you watching. Bye-bye.